How's everybody doing today? Just want to let y'all know, man, that we really appreciate, you guys, attending to our show, the Aquarian Nur that we just kicked off. And we need support because I'm trying to bring you guys, man, the best speakers out here and for you to enjoy this show, man, that we have, man, Aquarian Nur, going into this Aquarian energy. And it's like they say, it's a great reset, and it is a reset, and we need to all reset our minds. And like I said, once again, I got the best speakers, man, that's going to be on these platforms, man. So if you can support the team, because this is a team effort, it's just not me, you know what I mean? So I have a Cash App, which is $ Ali Productions, and also I have a PayPal, which is paypal.me/091765. And if you guys can support and donate in any type of way, man, we will be appreciated, man, because this is a teamwork and all of us need to collectively come together, man, so we can get our birthright back, because it was definitely stolen. And a lot of us need to understand and wake up how it was stolen, and so we can do something about it, because it's our time, man. Peace. Oh, you know what? I want to read something. It says in here, it says, the courts rule that persons may adopt any lawful means for lessening of the burden of income taxes. Avoidance of taxes is not a criminal offense.
Yes, that's right.
It says the Department of Treasury, the IRS handbook for special agents, 4112, tax avoiding distinguished from invasion. It said any attempt to reduce, avoid, minimize, or alleviate taxes by legitimate means is permissible.
That's what they do.
But what I want to get into, it said, never in the history of the United States has the need for property and asset protection been greater. It is a stark reality in today's world that a sudden financial reversal, an unanticipated lawsuit, or the stroke of a bureaucrat's pen can overnight wipe out a lifetime of accumulated savings and assets.
That's right. They can do that.
And that's the reason why we need trust set up.
That's right.
And like I say, once again, I'm not talking about the Moors out there, because a lot of Moors know what's going on, but our people, man, we don't like leaving anybody behind. They don't know too much about trust.
They don't.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Our people, again, as I was going into some historical facts earlier before we aired at 7 o'clock, it goes back to the Civil War when we fought on both sides, the Confederates and the Union, and we overcame. That set freedom for us, which would technically give us automatic citizenship. But once we moved into our freedoms, what these Europeans have done is Lincoln came up with the emancipation legislation, which technically put us back into slavery. Because when you read from this dictionary that I showed earlier,
Right.
the words kind of faded away. Matter of fact, I probably can open up.
Is that the American Heritage?
Nah, I'm opening up the front.
Okay.
I mean, inside cover, because the inside didn't fade away.
Okay. New World Dictionary.
All right.
All right.
This is the Webster's New World Collegiate Dictionary.
Right.
I think this is the 3rd edition. Yeah, this is the 3rd edition.
Okay.
In here, when you look up the word emancipate, it means to make over or transfer up as property.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So when Lincoln claiming about emancipation, it doesn't mean what we think it means.
Right.
Like an emancipated minor. Because even if you're emancipated minor, you still got a birth certificate by the state.
Right.
So how emancipated are you? So again, he removed us out of state property and brought us into federal property and gave the states bonds at 6% interest.
Right.
But then when we was deceasing or dying off, as they would say, they came up with an inheritance tax. So that way we won't inherit any wealth from, your loved ones who preceded you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have the tax, you couldn't get the wealth or the asset that was left for you. So that's what this inheritance tax is. Because the tax is the power to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
So trust, very important, is a non-probate will, which means you don't file your trust in no probate court, because probate court cannot probate your will. I mean your trust.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust is unprobatable. And if you really want to know what's going on with an estate, you have to look up the word escheat, which is ESCHEAT, escheat. If you can look that up in the Oxford Dictionary, Ali, I like to see what their definition is for escheat, ESCHEAT. All right, because that word is a synonym for the estate. So again, it's very important that our people have a trust set up.
Right.
Because they give your loved ones 100% of your assets. Nothing is going to be probated at all. And there's no inheritance tax at all on a trust. All right, your children become the beneficiaries. You become the grantor, and you can set up someone trustee. And so whatever you have for your children, they're going to get it 100%. So it's very important that we get trust, because trust is immune from your account being frozen, liens, levies, judgments, garnishments, collections, those terms that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Trust is bonded against that. They cannot take anything from the trust for the terms that I just used.
Right.
So that make you reason why you need a trust. If you work in a job and you say you got a checking account or savings account, either one should be set up in the form of a trust. So that way, if anything go wrong with a judgment or a lien or a levy, the trust cannot be touched.
Right.
And you wouldn't have to worry about it.
So let me ask this, because and I understand too about how us Moors feel about this United States, and everything is economics.
Yeah, you mean United Snakes?
Exactly. It's a lot of words we can use, brother. But so having a trust set up, but not having an EIN number on that trust, or just having a trust in your free national name or your free national business name, how can you do business here?
Well,
with something set up like that?
Well, see, unfortunately, the banks are already set up on the internal revenue. They're subject to the internal revenue laws, the banks, because remember, they fall up under the Department of Treasury.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're compelled to get an EIN number and to set up an account. Unless you coming from a foreign place, there's no EIN numbers for folks who are coming from a foreign place. That's why folks is running to the 98 number. But even if you're coming to a foreign place, they're still getting a 98 number. That's still an EIN number. The 98 number is still an EIN number. It's just classified foreign as opposed to domestic. So what I'm saying is, even if you got a domestic EIN number, it's the way you set up the form or the application. Like, for instance, they would ask you, do you have any employees? You have to say no. All right. So there's ways to fill out the form and not subjugate the trust to any of the language that they're talking about on that form, where it still will be asset protection, even with an EIN number. So it's all in the language.
Right.
Because how do you do business in banking if you don't have an EIN number to do the business banking? You know what I'm saying? Which is commerce.
Right.
So that's going to be very difficult. But if you're not looking to set up an account with the bank, there's ways you can get a number other than the EIN number for your trust. And you can get the number from the post office and set up something with the post office. You see what I'm saying?
Well, so what would be an example of doing something like that? I mean,
all right. Say for instance, because the post office is the move. A lot of people don't know the science behind the post office. Matter of fact, there was a movie I called The Postman. People need to see that. Anyway, you know how you do registered mail?
Oh yeah.
So you use the registered mail number.
Right. Oh.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Keep going.
You see? So that right there helps people to do something outside of the EIN number. That's exactly what I teach. And I can show you how to bond your trust through the post office. A lot of people don't know about the post office. So that's something that I teach. That's when I set up the, help you set up the trust. I teach you that process so you would know, through the post office. So
Brother, come back to you.
Yes.
Because I set some things up like that, but I never set the trust up like that, where I'll mail it back to myself and I'll have that registered number.
That's right.
So I can use that number. Oh.
For your trust.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And you can talk to the post office and ask them, do they have a depository? Just like the bank. You see what I'm saying?
Would that be like the back office, like?
Sort of like, yes. And matter of fact, the post office have postal bonds that you can purchase. And you can bond your trust, because they actually, like the value. Some of them you see up there saying 300, depending on the content of what you have, in the envelope. As far as the trust is concerned, you can pay a certain amount of money and bond your trust with the post office through registered mail.
Yeah, hey, look, brother, maybe tomorrow I'm gonna get with you. I'm gonna get with you on this, brother.
So when they hear stuff like this, they're like, yo, we never heard nothing like this. So I mean, I have it. I got a lot of information in my head. what it is, I keep telling people that I'm so overloaded, like a computer. My hard drive is so loaded that even if we're talking about a certain subject, I may expound on it. But the point is, Noble, is that it takes a trigger. A certain word would trigger my thought, and I would drop a jewel on you for something you just said to me. Even though we may be dialoguing, the information may not come to drop that on you, but it was just one word that triggered my thought. I said, oh, Mo, you got to hear this, jewel. I got something for you. That's why I keep telling people, you get the best out of me when you ask me questions.
So when we're setting up these trusts, man, are we using, say, like let me see, we can use our straw man name for the grantor. We can use our free national name as trustee.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And the beneficiary will be our children or whatever.
Yes, that's right.
And how do like, say, like in probate, if we put our assets, our houses and all this stuff in these trusts, then if I transition,
yes,
how do we keep things going?
Excellent question.
You know what I mean?
Well, you have to establish a trustee. Now, the children or your progeny or your descendants can move from a beneficiary position to a trustee position. I'm talking about all of them, not say for instance, say you have 4 children, I just as an example, and you got them all as beneficiaries, and you transition. You will want those 4 children to move their position from beneficiary to trustee, because now trustees sit at the table and they can discuss what they want to be done so they can benefit. So then what they can do, they can create, they not so much create, but they can name someone, an entity as the beneficiary, like an LLC or a non-for-profit. So they can move from the beneficiary position to a trustee position, and they can be at the table making all business decisions and have whatever assets in that trust. The beneficiary can be a non-for-profit or an LLC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So is it a limit of people that can be trustee?
No, it's not a limit. I just use 4 as an example. It could be 6, it could be 8. You see what I'm saying?
I didn't know that.
But what I'm saying is, because that would be your board.
Right.
You will want your beneficiaries to be your board.
Right.
And you know what's beautiful about that? Because then if the beneficiaries move from the beneficiary status to the trustee status, then they wouldn't have to worry about taxation. Because you know what I'm saying, and they still can get a stipend as a trustee. You know what I'm saying? They can still get management fees as a trustee. They can get paid as a trustee for managing the trust.
Yeah.
So you would have to teach the beneficiaries how to manage the trust. So if you transition, they automatically move. They would move themselves from out of beneficiary position into a trustee position. You see? And that's fly, Mo. Because then you're keeping your beneficiaries to keep the trust flowing. You ain't looking for those. Because they talk about a 99-year time that the trust would be extended to, but it can go beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, you kind of remind me that what Noble Juali did with the Express Trust, and these temples who got these sheiks and grand sheiks are not aware of the Express Trust, because what Juali did, the sheiks and the grand sheiks or the sheikesses, they was the trustees, Mark. They was the trustee. He didn't use the word trustee. He used the title for the temple, but they are operating as fiduciaries because they was trustees in the capacity of a grand sheikh or sheikh.
Right.
All right. This is how Juali set it up. So I thought that was brilliant of him. You know, but everything just went to hell. You know, and so the temples is all scattered. You know, I've talked to some more elders. Oh man, about several years ago, I should have recorded it more. And it got so bad that they don't even deal with the Moorish Science Temple anymore. They go back to the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. They had to go back to that.
Well, you know what? I was reading something on that too, but I was reading The Exhuming of a Nation.
Yes, by Elihu Pleasant Bey.
Pleasant Bey. And in chapter 21, that's what he was talking about. He said he came out, he don't even affiliate with the MSTA. You know what I mean? For certain reasons.
Yeah, well, these elders was the one who schooled me.
Yeah.
And more, I was on the phone with them for several hours.
Right.
And these elders was in the 80s, 70s and 80s. These was like the third or fourth generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, I just met a woman when I went to physical therapy on a Saturday. I met a woman. Matter of fact, I got her picture. I'm gonna show it to you. She's 80 years of age. Her father been in the Moorish Science Temple for 100 years. Yes, more. Threw me to the floor. She was raised in the Moorish Science Temple. She's a physical therapist.
Right.
I'm gonna show you her picture. Yeah, more, because she and how she recognized me, because my mask that I wear outside has a crescent and a star on it. And then she seen Bey. So she started questioning me about Bey. Because she couldn't believe that here we go, here she goes. She looks good. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh. Okay, I see it.
You see the crescent and star on my ass?
Yeah.
And that's the sister that she's 80, more, and she is in tip-top shape.
She's 80?
Yes, more. Yes.
You would never be able to tell.
You would never be able to tell. You've seen her, right? You got a good look at her?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her. That's her. And her father been in the Moorish Science Temple for 100 years, more.
Wow.
Yeah, more. She was, yeah, we was kicking it, more.
You know, in talking about like these trusts, man, a lot of these Jews, man, you know, they experts at dealing in trusts. And they always tell you, man, like, I don't own nothing.
You know why? Because the synagogues owns everything.
Right.
That's why I became a chaplain, more. Right. I became a chaplain. You know, I studied chaplaincy and got my chaplaincy certificate and became a chaplain. So now I can file for what they call is a vow of poverty. So that way, no collectors or creditors or whoever, they can't come at me.
So like these financial endowments that these like say like there are some HBC you know, universities, colleges. Morehouse is one, Spelman being another, and the people don't know that Morehouse, Spelman, they Jews, and they set them schools up as financial endowments.
Oh yes, yes, and the synagogues. You're right, but we have. But the Moorish Science Temple was supposed to be set up that same way too, more.
Right, right.
So I know what you're talking about. Noble Drew Ali, man, that man was brilliant, man.
He was before his time.
Yeah,
he was before his time.
Yeah.
You know, and so a lot of people don't know that when you're talking about Morehouse, they like, hey man, this is a so-called black college. But yeah, Morehouse was Rockefeller's business partner. And Spelman is Rockefeller's wife's maiden name. So they sent us to these schools, man. And they
got a school called Spelman. There's a Spelman College.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're saying that. High school and college.
Right. You know.
Interesting.
And a lot of us don't know that, but it just keep on going for them. That's a trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's tax-free, more, because the school don't pay taxes.
Tax-free.
Yes. So you're right. Those financial endowments.
Hey, look, they getting paid, and we going broke. They said they put us in debt.
Yeah, because what happened was the bankruptcy of 1933 is what brought the debt in. Everything came into receivership, and then this credit system became the issue because the debt is why we have credit. Because if we can't afford anything, you get credit, but the credit is nothing but debt. Now, when you do the etymology on the word credit, the first three letters of credit is CRE.
Right.
That CRE is the same letters in the word accrue, because accrue is ACCRUE.
Right.
So you do see the CRE in accrue, which is in credit.
Right.
And then the DIT is the letters that you see in debit. So it's accrued debt or debit. So and what's accruing is the interest on that debt, because they're calling it an asset when it's really a liability. Because when you begin to start drawing the line and put credit on one side and debit on the other side, asset on the credit side, liability on the debit side, but technically they really wanted the same.
Hey, look, my people out there, this is the real reason why it's so important to learn etymology. I mean, look, I have people all day long saying, how can that benefit us today? That was, you know what I mean? That was.
Well, here's the demonstration, Mo.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a demonstration. It's very important to study etymology because they're using words destructively as a coin weapon of warfare against you. I'll give you an example. You got a car, you don't park your car, but meanwhile you got a parking ticket.
Right.
So how is etymology going to help me in that situation?
Right.
It will help you dismiss the parking ticket, because if you before the so-called magistrate in black robes acting as the magician, what you say is that, how do you take a verb suffix ing and put it on a noun, which is park, P-A-R-K, and change it from an adverb verb? But did you know that's a federal offense to do that? It's Title 18, subsection 1001, fraudulent conveyance of language. So they're using fraudulent conveyance of language in the courtroom to collect penalties, fees, and charges.
And that's Title 18 what? Title 18 what?
Title 18, subsection 1001, fraudulent conveyance of language.
Okay.
That's a false statement. Getting a parking ticket is a false statement. That's a federal offense. So now you see how etymology applied?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to be technical, if your car was parked, well, how in the hell are you going to give you a parking ticket? He should have gave you a no park ticket, not a no parking ticket. You see what I'm saying? So I can show you the demonstration now. I can show you how you can use etymology in law. All right?
Hey,
No other etymologies do this.
Yeah.
It may give you some good structure and some good analysis and good information, but now how do you apply it?
That's right.
Today's
hey,
so that's what makes it exciting for me. Huh?
They say knowledge is power, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Noble. So that's the demonstration right there. That's what is, that's the information right there. That's just one demonstration. Another demonstration. All right, here we go. I was looking for this on page 21. Mulling over debits versus credits. This is what I was looking for. And this is coming from the book, again, Accounting for Dummies. Accounting for Dummies, this is what it's coming from. This is on page 21. And it says here, In this section, you discover the mechanism of journal entries, which is bookkeeping. That's when they mean journal entries, which you are used to enter financial information into the company's accounting software to properly post journal entries. You need to understand debits and credits. Journal entries is a major area of confusion for anyone who's just getting started in accounting because they involve debits and credits that are often counterintuitive,
Right.
which means that it's a challenge to your intuition. You know, it makes it very difficult for your intuition to be able to grasp the concepts of debits and credits, is what they're saying when they say counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just starting out in accounting, consider reading this section more than once. After you read this section and start posting some journal entries, you'll get the hang of it. You see that? So they're teaching you how to learn the concepts of debits and credits in a journal entry. This is what they're teaching you. This is, I'm telling you, this book is off the chain.
Yeah,
It's off the chain. You got to get it.
I'll be picking that up tomorrow.
Yes.
You know,
because then what happens is that checks and balances, how to read your checkbook, and checks and balances is what they're saying. How to read your financial statement from the credit card companies, because they could be cheating you, and you don't even know it because you don't know anything about debits and credit when it comes to journal entry.
Right.
We don't know nothing about accounts receivable. You know what I'm saying? There was 5 concepts that I wrote on the board, and it came out of this book. It came out of this book. 5 concepts. You know, and I'm just trying to think of it because this is not everyday language that I speak to people because people are just not on that level. But I'm willing to teach and share.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to recall. It's in one of my lectures. I do know that. I got to go back and look. That I named 5.
You got many lectures out there, brother.
Yeah, I know. But this one was actually at the House of Reawakening Minds. So it was out of one of the 3 of 2018. So I'm not sure if it was April, May, or June. I would have to go back and look. You know what I'm saying? More because these 5 concepts, you can use it against the creditor.
Right.
You know, about accounts receivable. Because what's going on with accounts receivable, they're collecting, it's called lockbox banking. The creditor got set up lockbox banking. I'm telling you, I'm hitting people with information they never heard before. Lockbox banking, what is that? You could either go to Investopedia and look up lockbox banking. And what they're talking about is how these creditors set up post mailboxes at the banks where the payments are being sent to. Because you know that you see sometimes payments is going to a post office box, and those post office boxes and banks. And what they do is they collect all those payments from those boxes and divvy those payments up and make a deposit on behalf of the bank. They call that lockbox banking. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone.
Lockbox banking.
This is what they're doing. So let me get to that. Here we go. Lockbox banking. All right, here we go. Here we go. What is lockbox banking? Banks offer lockbox services to help businesses streamline deposits, processing, and speed posting of remittance. To do this, the bank set up a post office box and you direct your customers to send their payments to the new address. You see?
Right.
And all that is accounts receivable. For remittance. Remittance is referring to debt. Now, what I normally do is go to Investopedia. Let me show you something. Let me talk it in. Investopedia. All right. I go to Investopedia. I go to the what you call the browser,
Mm-hmm.
and I type in. Here we go. I type in. Oh man, I forgot the term. Man, Mo, what was the term I was going to type in? I don't forgot the term. My mind is
You talking about lockbox?
No, not lockbox. Oh, I got it. It came back to me. Is remittance. There we go. This is what we need to know. The definition: remittance letters. No, we go here. Remittance definition. A remittance is a sum of money sent to another party, usually in another country. Remittance is a major source of income for people in poor nations.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A transfer gold launchers. All right, see? So that's what we need to set up. We need to set up but those check cash in place. Oh, excuse me. Western Union.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? There's another one that competes with Western Union.
You talking about it's right on the tip of my tongue.
I know more. I'm getting these mental blocks.
I know what you're talking about though. It's on the tip of my tongue.
But those facilities operate as a remittance because people send money to people, overseas.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a good example of a remittance is when you send money, Cash App operates as that. PayPal, when you set it up and send money. I mean, they got a lot of companies out there today too, especially foreign. You have to download the app and you can transfer money to another person. That's what they mean by remittance.
So let me ask you something. It's still pertaining to trust.
Yes.
So
which is really equity protection. We never said that.
Right.
But as you continue, brother.
So if you're buying a house, and with a mortgage and everything, you're at the table and you're doing the closing and all that stuff. Can you put that house, if it's not paid, even though we know it's really paid, but can you put that house in a trust?
If you paying that house up front, 100%, you can. Right. But if you going into what they call hypothecation, all right, because these mortgage notes, the note is the consideration that paid off the house at the closing. A lot of people don't know that. Mm-hmm. But what they do is they hypothecate the note in the mortgage where you be paying for it for 30 years, mm-hmm. even though the note was given in consideration that paid off the actual house at the closing. And how you know that's true, that the house is paid off at the closing by the mortgage note, because the mortgage note is the consideration that you gave the bank when you signed it. The note was the equity that you gave to the bank. The bank had given you no consideration, but you gave the bank consideration. All right? Mm-hmm. And so when you go to the land records to record that consideration, how is it being recorded? Well, there's a mortgage tax. So when you pay the mortgage tax in full at the clerk's office, land records, recording office, that means you paid off the the mortgage in full.
You broke
Who
up a
goes to
lot
the
right
store,
there.
purchase an item? Who goes to the store, purchase an item, and you know you got to pay the tax for the item. So when you pay the tax for the item is paid for.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing with the house. The mortgage note is the consideration that paid off the house in full, and then they go pay off the tax, and then there's a satisfaction of mortgage that they put in there. But yet, because we're not aware of that, they got us saying we're going to agree to pay mortgage payments at this particular date for 30 years, the next 30 years. That's hypothecation.
Mm.
And what is it? I'm trying to think. It's a banking that I used to drop on people. I know it's Title 12. I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me look. But I like to give people accurate information.
So I have a brother right now. I'm not going to put his name out there, but you're taking care of him. Him and their house, right? So they're still paying on it, but with the procedure that you're doing, so forth is Chapter 7.
All right.
When that's finished, then you can roll that into a trust, correct?
That's right. We can roll that into a trust. It's 73. Check this out. I dropped this jewel some years ago.
Yeah.
And I've never heard nobody drop this. 12 USC Section 73. It deals with oath. Each director, when appointed to elect, shall take an oath that he will, so far as his duty devolves on him, diligently and honestly administer the affairs of such association and would not knowingly violate or willingly permit to be violated any of the provisions Title 62. Right? Is this it? Yes, this is it. I just want to make sure because it's been a minute. So it says here, to be violated any of the provisions of Title 62 of the revived statutes, all right? And then remember now, Noble Drew Ali was dealing with the revived statutes with Smith Hurts, which was the revived statutes. He set up a lot of things up under that statute, all right? Subscribed by him or standing in his name on the books of the association, and that the same is not hypothecated. You hear that?
Right.
And the same is not hypothecated or in any way pledged as a security for any loan or debt. So they're not supposed to be doing that. They're not supposed to hypothecate the loan. They're not supposed to pledge for any loan or debt. The oath shall be taken before a notary public, properly authorized and commissioned by the state in which he resides, or before any other officer having an official seal and authorized by the state to administer oaths, except that the oath shall not be taken before any such notary public or other officers who isn't an officer of the director's bank. The oath subscribed by the director making it and certified by the notary public or other officers before whom it is taken shall be immediately transmitted to the comptroller of currency and shall be filed and preserved in his office for the period of 10 years. So it's telling you right there that you cannot hypothecate a loan, pledge a loan, or a debt. But they're doing it. And this is the oath. This is 12 USC Section 73. I dropped that more. People were flabbergasted because they never heard this before.
Right.
You see? Because where's the equity in that? That they're going to pledge? Because a mortgage is nothing but a dead pledge.
Exactly.
Mort meaning dead, ledge, gauge meaning pledge.
Exactly.
So here you are pledging, you're pledging, And as you pledge, they hypothecating your pledge. This
And
is what they're doing.
They put all the spells on us with the spelling, man.
Exactly, Noble. So that's why you see me diligently study the way I study. I'm telling you, they got me listen, somebody said, listen, I'm a beast or a savage in this field. Because they know how I get down from my crown, because I love my Moorish brothers and sisters and those who don't see themselves as Moors. I love them too, because I'm going to help them too. I don't got any prejudice going on. There ain't no Negro, black, and colored over here. You know what I'm saying? But I help them too.
Yeah, and you do it all the time.
In the name of the desirable.
You do it all the time. I see you.
There you go, Mo.
You know?
Even though they want to take on the name of the desirables, I still help them. I still help them.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah, Mo.
Well, look, man.
So I'm enjoying this, Mo.
You want to, because we almost done, man. So close out with whatever you want to say concerning finance, trust, and all that, man. You got.
Well, again, trust is the most essential and vital protection of your equity or assets. It is imperative that all our people across this country should have a trust. It's imperative, because then if the millions of our people have a trust, we can put the probate courts out of business. Or they won't be probating us if they stay in business. That means we would be giving our progeny, our descendants, our loved ones, 100% of equity. In the probate courts, it's a court of equity, but it's unequitable. Because what make the state your inheritance, or you the inheritance to the state? They're using that birth certificate and death certificate, those two instruments. They set you up as an estate at birth and then issue your death certificate when you decease. So they got control over you in birth or in death. So that's why these trusts is so important.
So, you know, and the thing is, when you're dealing with these trusts pertaining to like the mortgage, most of our people, you know, we find ourselves, man, the probate man coming and snatching our stuff up. You know what I mean? When someone dies, you see it all the time, man. They lose everything, and because of probate.
True.
So being that mortgage hasn't been paid off, how do you set?
No, it's been paid off, Mo.
Yeah.
It's remember the note.
Right.
There's a mortgage and there's a note. They call it the mortgage note. The note was given at the closing when you signed the note in front of these bankers, the agents.
Right.
That note was the consideration to pay off the mortgage. The mortgage been paid off at the closing because the note was the consideration. So they got our people thinking that the mortgage ain't paid because they hypothecated. And that's why I read 12 USC, which is a banking statute, section 73. I had to pull it purposely so I can be accurate with the information where the source is coming from.
Right.
They're not supposed to have you to pledge a debt or a loan, and then right after you pledge the debt or loan, they hypothecated. So they got you thinking that you're supposed to pay a mortgage payment.
Right.
And then if you don't make the payment, you in default. But they don't tell you within 90 days, they would send it over to the insurance company to make collection. Because that mortgage is insured. But the mortgage don't have to be insured because you paid it off already. But the reason why they insure it, because of the hypothecation. So when you fall into default, they go to the title insurance company or the insurance company and make a claim on that default, because when you read the mortgage, it specifically says mortgage insurance protects lender on payment or non-payment of loan. That's what it says. They take out mortgage insurance on that hypothecation. So when you default on that hypothecation, they go after the mortgage insurance.
So you have a lot of people. You have a lot of people. They don't know this, and
true.
What should they do about it? And what I'm saying is when they have a mortgage, and the ring threw my mind off. But when you have a mortgage, and
what should they do as far as
man, that really
if they have a mortgage, what they should do? I know. I'm trying to get you to get back to your mind state. You said if they have a mortgage, what should they do? I think you're saying something about how they can deal or get rid of that mortgage, or is that what you're saying or thinking?
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Basically, yeah. Man, I hate this, man. I can't stand this, man.
I get the same thing. But you know what it is more? You have an overload.
Yeah.
It's an overload because I be having information.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say.
All right, here we go.
When had to come back. So when you go out and you do a securitization audit, or you get a securitization audit done.
Yes.
And here it is, most of our people are giving these notes up to these fraudulent mortgage companies. That's not even a part of the mortgage. They don't, I mean, their name is nowhere on there. So when you do a securitization audit and you find out that you don't know who this person is you've been giving your notes to, so how do you go about that? And can you stop everything from that?
You just hit it on the head. A securitization audit is how I go after them. Because what happened is that your equity being transferred from the lender to the trust. And so you have to talk to the trust administrator, right? And who's the one who's holding the money is the loan servicer. He's actually the corporate too. Because I did a communication with an administrator with Wells Fargo. I try not to say too much.
Right. I understand.
Yeah, so I like what you're doing because I do the same thing.
Right.
I talked to a trust administrator in Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Who client of mine.
Yeah.
And she was blown away because we talked about the QSUP number and the account, and with the trust administrator from Wells Fargo sent a financial statement and highlighted in yellow the QSUP number in her account and acknowledged it and was telling us that the money goes to the Federal Reserve and who collects that money is the loan servicer because they are members of the Federal Reserve. You see what I'm saying? So then the audit helps you to locate the equity.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because that equity should be the equity that should pay off the mortgage when it's hypothecated. But other than that, the mortgage note already paid the mortgage off at the closing because you paid the mortgage tax. There's a property tax and there's a mortgage tax. Those are the two stamps that they stamp on that statement. There's a mortgage tax and a property tax. And when they stamp that statement, the mortgage statement that's filed with the clerk's office, then they have a satisfaction of mortgage being put in. But they don't tell you that.
No.
You see what I'm saying? I've discovered these things in my research.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you anything.
Nah, you have to go and research this stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And most people, man, even when they hear about what we're saying, I mean, they look at it like we committing some type of fraud.
Yeah, because they've been so mentally redline or streamline into the thinking process of how these institutions got it. Like, for instance, some of the sisters, which I'm not gonna mention by name, would call me up and they keep talking about credit issue. And I said, sister, do you want your equity, which is money, or you want credit? Credit means you're borrowing somebody else's money at a certain interest rate, and that's depending on your credit. Why would you want to live like that?
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about remittance, lockbox banking.
Mm-hmm.
Those two words show you that, you know, money is being transferred to you in the form of credit, and then you got to pay that loan back with interest, depending on your credit status. You see? So when you want your equity out of any one of those equitable instruments, like for instance, your birth certificate, I'd be the first one to say this because no one else is saying it. Because I'm listening to all the gurus out there talking, but they're not saying the things that they should be saying that I'm saying. What is that? Your birth certificate is nothing but letters of credit.
The straw man.
So when you're I might even true. So your straw man is wealthy. Your straw man got money.
Right.
Your straw man ain't poor. Your straw man has an account.
That's right.
So again, when you do a QSUP report on the birth certificate, it's going to fall under a certain classification. And now I got to go to Standard & Poor's with that information and look up what is the credit status on that class.
Right.
All right. And structured finance have to be construct into forms of credit, letters of credit, so you can have a line of credit. Once that letters of credit has been structured, because it's structured finance, then it have to be stamped by a bank medallion. And then you go to a bank that would approve it for the amount of money you need from the letters of credit. You see what I'm saying? Right. This is some heavy shit, brother.
Yeah. Hey, brother, we gonna do about 10 different parts, man, to this finance thing, man, because our people, we really need this.
Oh,
we really need this,
I'm just scratching the surface.
I know.
From 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
This gonna be this.
Really,
this part.
They think I went in. They think I went in.
This part one. This
That's
part
why I'm
one.
showing them these books. Because when I start going in heavy, matter of fact, to be technical, if they go to April 2018, the House of Reawakening Minds, look at that YouTube piece. I dropped so much information in that in 4 hours. And 4 hours was not enough.
Right. Right. Yeah, we scratched the surface.
You scratching the surface.
Yeah.
But if you want to see that demonstration, go to that video. You're going to see me pulling up the Bloomberg, going into that, writing letters to the trust administrator of Wells Fargo, where they send back a document to be able to liquidate your equity. That's in that video. They did it overnight mail because they was afraid that we was going to file a complaint with FINRA for financial violations, but they didn't give him his pecuniary interest or payout.
Right.
Not investment, because that note is making money in the trust. It's issuing trust certificates. I go, Chief, like I said, I was just scratching the surface. I'm just trying to wake up, give a layman's term of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
We're gonna go back into it, brother. We're gonna do all together, man, like 10 different parts, man. Because like I say, our people, we need to know how, we need other ways of knowing how to deal in finance, man. And once we find that out and you start doing your own studying, your own reading and research, then they get more confident in this. But if they ain't gonna never have no confidence.
Again, back to the prophet.
Yeah.
To Ali. He said it takes finance to lift the nation. Finance is science, me lifeline. So guess what? I started studying this stuff. My question is, as a call to the Moors and Moinas, why are we not putting overtime in studying finance so we can get out of this financial rut that we're in?
Right.
Why are we not doing that?
Exactly.
It's not just about nationality and your birthright.
That's right.
Juali didn't got you stuck right there. He talked about finance, you know, and he had businesses set up to bring in the finance to sustain the works that he's been doing at the time that, you know, he was operating.
Right.
You know, and we should be doing the same. You know,
That's
Moors
right.
by now, we should be having our own cryptocurrency, and we all should have been studying blockchain banking.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have to use the European currency. We can use our own crypto as our own currency and put value to it.
Right. That's right.
And the stores will honor that because we would have value and substance to it.
Well, you know, brother, look here. We're about to close this out today. I hope everybody enjoyed the brother Kemitu, the noble brother. And you're going to see a lot more from him because, you know, we got to wake our people up. That's why we're here. So Islam, peace, and love to everybody. And we will catch you on the rebound.
Yes.
Kemitu, thank you, my brother.
Thank you for having me, brother. It's a pleasure always.
Yeah, peace and love to you, man.
Peace and love.
Peace, everybody.
Warfare, red alert, it's warfare. We mentally and physically caught in the crosshair. The fight is for the soul, so many have lost their son. They trying to change your image like women in false hair. The cross bear, the image that the lost share. Unaware Satan's declared war and all's fair. It cost their souls a fortune. The scorching 70 times hotter than the earth's portion. Caution, red alert, caution. They sizing up my people like a slave auction. A toll is taking on the soul of every lost one. Run, son, better yet, retreat, son. The beast run the system for a simple reason. Control thoughts that haven't been taught is treason. Think, son, better yet, reflect, son. The rate of maximum state pen erection. The modern day enslaving of dark complexion. With this wicked prison industry out complex, son. Red alert, red alert, red alert. All I got told you, I'm calling. This is an urgent warning because a storm is coming. Red alert. We don't need no more inequality. And we can't take no more police brutality. So when we see one time, only one thing's on our mind. Lock and load. Red alert, red alert, red alert. Red alert. 41 shots the Bronx heard, but still they let the murderers walk like clockwork. Damn if I don't wanna go make my Glock work like a slave to the rhythm of shots till cops hurt. It's too late to convert when you're in the dirt facing your eternal damnation. It feel great when you send the devil back to Satan. I dream about the sensation, the stimulation of my soul from leaving the fed, stiff, dead and cold. Gorilla massive load and lock was on hold, but we never forgot. We lick a shot for Diallo. Everyone proceeding and those to follow. Fill up the jakes with the hollows, so maybe tomorrow it can have peace. But it's war, so desist and cease with the rallies and discussion. And when you see the beats, keep busting to the streets, echo percussion. And to your AK, keep clutching, whether Chinese or Russian model. Keep gasoline in my 40-ounce bottle. Son, I don't get bent, but I do vent and release when I light up your Chevy Caprice. Because to kill and be killed is a last decree. We stand up for justice, destroy tyranny. This is the mandate we translate from Arabia. Let's mobilize the Penn State and free Mamiya before it's too late. Because we all got a due date. So fear a line, learn to shoot straight. Red alert, red alert. Calling all I get to you,